Okay, so I'm Christian. I come from Chile, so I come from one of these minority countries. So I feel good to be here. I'm also married to a man, double minority. So I'm really happy to do this today and talk with you guys about what we do in Convergence, and in particular what is the idea behind Convergence. So I will read what I wrote for you. So most of the people gathered here today understand the message that we have been trying to convey. Science is important. We all know that. Yep. Indeed, it's vital for our survival, especially because we have problems like climate change, people that is not getting vaccinated, pollution, mental illness, food shortage, etc., etc., etc. So most of the people gathered here today agree that science can help to develop solutions for the problems today. So why are we here? I mean, I'm preaching to people that believe the same thing that I believe. So the reason that we are here is because we are worried that most of the people outside this group today seems not to agree with this urgency. And the truth is that people outside get confusing messages about science, a confusion that can be hard to solve, even exhausting. So we face a challenge: how to communicate better our science. That challenge has nothing to do with the idea of people being stubborn about the facts, that many people think that is that. Or people think also that people don't understand the facts, which is also not true. Or they think that it's problems of education, that maybe people outside of the scientific community is stupid, they don't understand what we're trying to talk about. And the fun fact is that most of the people that is behind conspiracy theories are actually PhDs, doctors, and have high degrees of education. So the problem has nothing to do with the education of the people that have outside of academia. The truth is that we're facing an audience of smart people that do not give the same priority to the message that we are trying to convey, which is like found science. We could find solutions to the problems today. So in that despair, make us to try to go with facts to the people, talk with facts to them, try to convince them about these things. But news for us, most of the people have already a set of mind and ideas that can be hard to challenge with direct battle of facts. Indeed, it may have happened to you already that you try to push facts in one of your friends, and the only thing that you obtain is that people get close and they just don't want to talk about it. And this, my friends, is called backfire effect. So, how we resolve this problem? People doesn't want to be treated as stupid or be patronized. As important as we as scientists understand that, because we make that mistake a lot. Our brain indeed reward us for keep one idea. Our brain indeed protect us from change ideas. It makes us feel fear when someone wants to change what we're thinking. So we should consider this when we talk with people, especially when we go to talk to someone about to change their mind and we produce fear in that person. This dude that wants to talk about facts and want to change my mind. So how we solve the problem? First, we have to understand that the barrier between the people and us is in part due to the way that science works, the way our brains are constructed, and the way that we speak science to the people. So what I mean with this? Out of the scientific jargon that fill papers and books, making science an exclusive club for those who spend time on that, we have been talking about this today, science per se tries to avoid human bias by carefully design experiments, controls, and use statistics. And all this is very alien for the public. This method indeed helped us to develop results that can be repeated, but over the centuries has also generated this sensation that science is cold and doesn't have a touch of humanity. Something that you can find indeed in books, movies, and television that depict all of us as mad scientists, people that want to dominate the world with a strange experiment and creatures and things that happen in one day, things that get out of control. Go to any theater and you will see one movie with one crazy scientist. So, now, as I mentioned earlier, our brains are constructed to avoid changing our mind too often. So if you get the idea, your brain usually will work hard to help you to stick to that. And change idea requires solid reasoning, where emotions typically oppose to that reasoning. So unconsciously, science is perceived as cold, almost like dehumanized, and our emotions naturally get in the way when a good intended scientific friend tries to make us change our mind with facts. In other words, we have an emotional dysfunction between us and the public. So there is a clear need to innovate in the way we communicate our science to make science approachable and regain the necessary trust to generate a conversation. And since the problem has to do with not considering emotions in the way we do science, the solution is precisely involve the emotions in our approach to speak about science. There's an urgent need for us to make use of an emotional approach to talk about science. Fun fact, when you relate in a positive way to another person, your brain produces something that's called oxytocin. Probably you have listened about that before. Oxytocin is a neuropeptide that, among other functions, help us to generate trust in social relations, and indeed help us bonding. Indeed, this substance also provokes that we decrease levels of anxiety, fear, and mistrust. And it happens just when we relate to other person. So the right emotions can generate the perfect setting for us to have a conversation about science. A conversation where we share experiences and not just instruct others, as I'm doing right now with you guys, but more like a conversation, talking and listen what the other person has to say also. No one appreciates, feels, or being treated as someone that doesn't know things, as an ignorant person. No one like that. So we have to change then the way that we communicate the science. How we tell science to people matters. How we perceive our work as a scientist matters. How people perceive our profession, our passion, our careers, our ethics matters. Because we are already facing the disadvantage of speaking a language that no one understands. And we are facing already the disadvantage of being believed by society as the mad scientist. So, plus, we face the disadvantage that we don't know how to speak to the people. We speak in science. So it's like we are speaking in some weird jargon that people just don't get. What I'm suggesting today is then to involve others in the conversation. In our particular case, what we do, we involve artists, because we believe the arts have keys to generate emotions and spark conversation about issues that are otherwise very hard to talk. Our program is working in learn respect for the public by sharing knowledge, by allowing to our scientists to also learn and not just become some speakers, some sort of speakers. In the process, we have earned trust by giving respect, and that has opened the door to naturally and without effort talk about science. Talk about the love and the passion that we feel behind the new discoveries, the feeling of excitement that we feel when we are doing a key experiment that will answer one of these hard questions that we are trying to solve. Talk about the ethical issues that we face. Talk about the fails that science have, the dark past, the stories that are behind that we also have to tell if we want to reconstruct the trust. When we earn the trust of our interlocutor, we can talk about the anxiety that we scientists experience to not knowing what kind of job we will have in the future. I mean, we're all here because of that, right? So we can talk also about how sad feels to know that there's already solutions to solve many of the problems that we have in the planet and they are not being using. That we are delayed like in 20 or 30 years using like cars today that still use oil when we have electricity and other ways to use energy. So work with artists has opened a fantastic opportunity to share the love, the passion, the wonder, the hopes, and the surprises behind the scientific work. These feelings are highly relatable. In the process, we have also learned to talk about science differently, and we have seen that conversation reflects in the artworks and the discussions that we have with tons of people in exhibitions where we are being present with our work. You know, creativity is behind innovation, and creativity thrives where different ways to think collide. The cell phone in your pocket or in your hand, the computer at home, the ways we use technology today are examples of how when you put people that think different can create very, very striking things. So I invite you today as scientists and a communicator to find ways to innovate your science talk, to find ways to challenge perceptions of communication. There is so much work to do, from change the way we educate our kids by challenging their mind with curiosity instead to kill the curiosity that they have at making them classify stones or leaves. So to destroy the stereotype of the mad scientist in movies, replacing it by the human beings who care and want the advance of society as well. Oh, my fingers are frozen. Learn to listen. Learn to share. The future is bright because there are many instances for us to collaborate and learn from each other. You people here today are ready for that. We are the change that is coming, not the people that stay at home. We can change it. We can communicate science different. So I invite you today to talk with someone outside of sciences, to get and collaborate, to learn about these people, because that is the solution that we have. The solution for the problem that the world have today doesn't pass by just being a group of people in the lab, pass by collaborate with different entities in society. So that's my message today. The invitation is open. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian.
Thank
Next
you.
up we have